Hi boys and girls, it is Friday and we are going to get started with our language section of your e-learning packets. Today we are working with lesson 21 on page number 11, and it should say compound words up at the top. So we are on page number 11 and we've got compound words up at the top. All right, our objective today is to use compound words, to create compound words, and to identify their meanings. All right, a compound word is a word that has two words put together to make a new word. Let me give you an example. Dragon, fly. Dragonfly. I took two words, dragon and fly, and I created a new word, dragonfly. So today, we're going to start with, on page number 11, the word house. I've got house, fly. If I put both of those words together, it creates the compound word housefly. A housefly is a fly that gets into your house. Let's put these two words together and then we'll try to figure out what the new compound word is that we made and what it means. All right, let's take a look. Blackbird. Our new compound word would be blackbird. Do we think that a blackbird is a bird with black feathers? Or do we think that a blackbird is a black feather shaped like a bird? Do we think a blackbird is a bird with black feathers or a black feather that is shaped like a bird? Well, a blackbird would probably be a bird with black feathers. So I'm going to circle or highlight the first choice. Number 2, a swordfish. Swordfish. All right, if I put sword and fish together, I end up with the compound word swordfish. What is a swordfish, you ask? Well, do we think that a swordfish is a sword that's shaped like a fish? Okay, a sword that is shaped like a fish. Or do we think that a swordfish is a fish with a jaw that is like a sword? A swordfish is a type of fish that looks like it has a sword as a mouth. So that is a swordfish. I'm going to let you take these two words, rattle and snake, to create the compound word, and then I want you to decide, what is a rattlesnake? Is it a rattle that's shaped like a snake? Or is it a snake with a tail that's like a rattle? You decide for that one. Looks like they give us a little hint over here. They say sometimes the second word in the compound word is a big clue to its meaning. So they say the word dog house, okay, is a house for a dog. So they want you, sometimes you'll have to look at the second word because that'll give you a bigger clue than the first one. So the word dog house, the compound word dog house, is a house for a dog, not a dog that looks like a house. All right, next page. Let's read the sentence and find the correct meaning for each compound word. Our compound word in this sentence is catfish. A catfish uses its whiskers to find food in the sea. What do we think a catfish is? Do we think a catfish is a fish that eats bugs? A cat that looks like a bird? I didn't hear anything about the word bird. There's no bird in this sentence or in our compound word catfish. What's a catfish? A fish with whiskers like a cat, or a cat that likes boats? Well, when I look at these choices, the only two that actually have the words cat or fish in them, cat and fish, I see a fish that eats bugs. No. A cat that looks like a bird. A fish with whiskers like a cat. Well, catfish, it says something about using its whiskers to find food in the sea. Okay, the word sea is a big clue because that means in the ocean. So it's something that would use its whiskers to find food in the ocean or in the sea. Well, a fish is the only thing that I can think of that would actually be in the sea using its whiskers to find food. So I think a catfish is a fish with whiskers like a cat. I want you to do number 2 and number 3 independently. Number 4, choose one word from the box to complete the sentence. We've got earth and quake to create earthquake. We've got earthworm to create earthworm. We've got worm and hole to create wormhole. Let's see which one makes the most sense in our sentence. The worm digs deep into the soil. This blank crawls up out of the ground when it rains. Would an earthquake crawl out of the ground when it rains? Probably not, so we know it's not going to be earthquake. The worm digs deep into the soil. This blank crawls up out of the ground when it rains. This earthworm crawls up out of the ground when it rains. Do earthworms crawl up out of the ground when it rains? Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and write earthworm as our compound word that we're using for sentence number 4. Just to make sure I didn't make the wrong choice, I'll read it with the last option, wormhole. This wormhole crawls up out of the ground when it rains. How could a hole that a worm crawls through, how could a hole crawl up out of the ground when it rains? That doesn't really make sense. So I know that we made the right choice with the compound word, earthworm. All right. The last section that I'll have you do independently, it says to reread what you wrote in part 1 and circle any compound words. If you did not use any compound words, add at least 2 compound words to your writing. So what they want you to do is they want you to go back to your assignment that you did yesterday, okay? Your assignment was to write about what you see in your neighborhood during the springtime. So for me, I see a lot of animals out in my neighborhood in the spring. I see the flowers starting to bloom. And they want you to circle all the compound words that you see in this section. So right off the bat, I'll give you the first one that I see. I see the word spring and time, okay? Springtime is a compound word, so I would circle that. Then there's at least one other, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but if you read this sentence, there's at least one more compound word that you should be circling. And they want you to go back and read what you wrote yesterday and circle any compound words if you wrote any down. All right, that's it for compound words. Today we learned that a compound word is a word that has 2 words put together, okay? Like earthworm, compound words.